Welcome to the Drag Me to the Movies podcast. I'm Ned.
And I'm Joe.
In this episode, we're going to discuss The Proposal from 2009 and stars Sandra Bullock, Ryan Reynolds, Mary Steenburgen, Craig T. Nelson, and Betty White. So, Joe, this is a romantic comedy. What did you think?
It is. It is. Did you mention the director, by the way?
Shit, no, I didn't.
Okay. So directed by Ann Fletcher. I got you
That's also
covered.
true.
I got you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Sounds like there's too much romance in your head for you to know what you're talking about in this podcast.
Yeah, or other
It's changed
things.
you. Romance has changed you, Ned.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, yeah, the proposals. So yeah, romantic comedies aren't typically my thing. But I did enjoy this one. I thought overall it was a good film. I mean, there's first things first, it's got an all-star cast in
Hmm.
this. Sandra Bullock, Reynolds, Mary Steenburgen, Craig T. Nelson, Betty White, Oscar Nunez. I'm just looking to see if there's anyone else that like stands out, but uh, yeah, they're all very good. And in some cases, like I don't know, it's like one of my I don't know, one or two times I've really watched a movie, I think with Sandra Bullock.
Okay.
So she reminds me that she's probably more of a classical actress, maybe. I don't know, or is she more of a romantic comedy? Is this more of her thing?
She definitely has a lot of rom-coms that she's done.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
mean,
she pulls off the serious character really well. And that's why I wasn't sure if this is like a
she
new
definitely has some
like angle
serious
for her.
movies like Gravity and Speed. But
Okay.
she's done stuff like The Lost City, Miss Congeniality, stuff like that, where she gets to be a little more fun.
Okay. Um, so I mean, all that said, the casting I thought was done well. Sandra Bullock did a good job at being the uh tight ass corporation head.
The
At the
Boss Lady.
beginning, the boss lady. Ryan Reynolds played himself as he does in every movie. What do you think about that statement? You think this is another
Um,
like Ryan Reynolds just being Ryan Reynolds?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think he's as Ryan Reynolds as he typically is in this one. Um, he ends up playing a little bit more serious to me compared to Van Wilder or other things.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He flexes some serious muscles here, but he's also that kind of smart ass. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
times I think
definitely.
in this film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maurice Steenburgen. And this is a few times now I've seen her as like the mom character in films. She does a really good job there. Craig T. Nelson, aka Coach.
Yep.
I thought he did a good job being the serious guy in the film, but also having like dry humor
Mm-hmm.
behind a lot of his parts. And then Betty White, of course, being kind of the off the cuff, not sure what to expect character,
Yeah.
um, which I really think she makes this movie in a
Yep.
lot of ways.
Agreed.
Um, and then of course Oscar Nunez as well. I think he does a good job as well in being a background character that has
Mm-hmm.
a lot of reoccurrence and weight to him
Yep. I agree.
throughout it. So yeah, the casting I thought again was superb, really well done. The story itself I thought was well done as well. I thought it was unique in that, it starts with, Margaret needing to basically get citizenship to keep her company. And if she doesn't, then, she'll lose it. And so what she does is she tries to find, one of her employees that she knows would do anything to prove themselves. And so she basically blackmails Ryan Reynolds to, you know, marry her. And that's where it starts, and, ultimately, they go to, Sitka, Alaska to meet his family, um, and that's really, I think, where the movie really kinda gets its wings, and takes off.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I didn't get the look, but was this shot on site at Sitka, Alaska?
No. I think it was actually filmed in the Northeast somewhere.
Okay, because the area that they filmed it was gorgeous,
Mm-hmm.
the ocean side, the docking areas, like the house, the homestead, his parents' homestead, gorgeous, huge. Um, so yeah, I thought the setting overall was really nice.
Yeah, it was
And the
actually
setting itself.
in North Shore, Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So as far as far as you could get from Alaska, United States,
Yeah, pretty much other than Florida.
right? Um, so yeah, so I thought the setting was really well done. I like that the setting they chose was so remote because that leads itself to a lot of the jokes that play out in this. It's a lot of small town vibe,
Hmm.
humor. The kind of reminded me of like Green Acres. Have you ever seen Green Acres?
No.
Okay, so it's
I'm
a TV
familiar
show
with it, but I
from way
never
back.
watched it.
Okay, I only seen it because of like TV Land and stuff like that growing up, or Nick at Night. And so what it kind of reminds me of is that everybody knows everybody. It's the same like 10 characters repeated over and over. Oscars or Ramon, I should say. Uh he's the one that reminds me the most of Green Acres in that he plays so many functional parts in this
Hmm.
town. And that's kind of a theme in Green Acres is like the one guy is like the salesman, he's also like the taxi driver, he's the mailman, so on and so forth. So I love that Ramon is, the caterer at the beginning, right?
Hmm.
He's a stripper at one point. He's the salesman at the store. He ends up being the officiator of their wedding. uh, just kind of a funny reoccurring thing. And I also like that the reoccurring theme also is around him having the hots for Margaret
Yeah.
also.
Yep.
So very,
He's
very well done there.
jack of all
Um,
trades.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, so Betty White, I talked about how she's kind of like the standout in this film. She really, 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 really did a good job at playing the grandma in this film. I don't know like what kind of relationship you've ever had with your grandparents or if you were able to have one. But kind of reminds me of like the grandparents when they get to that age where like they don't care what they're saying.
Hmm.
Just kind of let it all out. She did a really like phenomenal job at that.
Yeah. I so I had my gram from my dad's side, my gram from my mom's side, my pap from my dad's side. I never met my mom's pap. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I had like a lot of philosophical conversations with them, mainly because they all passed before I was like old enough to actually have those type of conversations.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I haven't really had any philosophical either with my grandparents, but
mhm,
I saw it more as like my grandma from my mom's side, I grew up with her like right next door, so I got to kind of witness it.
right.
And even in some cases, kind of with my mom as well. Of like they have that inner, or you have your inner filter, right? Where
Hmm.
you don't say what's on your mind, but then you get to an age where you don't care and it just comes out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah,
That reminded me so much of what Betty White was playing in this, like,
yeah.
walking in on them, saying, "Here's the baby maker blanket," handing that to them.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
she's also probably
bas
trying to encourage it too.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Her coming into the room and saying, "Margaret, we're taking you out for the day," and not taking no for an answer, and, the joke about how Ryan Reynolds says, "I can't ignore her because she's just gonna keep coming back,"
Hmm.
Just kinda reminds you of that grandma, mentality. And then there's off the cuff stuff with Betty White. The standout for me was the scene of her in the woods doing that ritual, um, for dancing around the fire
Hmm.
and chanting, and Sandra Bullock, aka Margaret, singing the "To the window, to the wall" lyrics as her
Yes.
chant
Yep.
because she couldn't think of anything. That was a fantastic scene in this film. And Betty White's facial expressions as she's watching, Margaret say the lyrics and dance,
And then she
and then like
repeats
kind of
them.
like, yeah, and then she starts to repeat them. Like she goes from like a what the hell to I'm into this kind of thing. Again, Betty White was so good in this. And then I think
Yes.
the other standout, of course, is um at the end where she starts to have a heart attack,
Mhm.
and she's like very, very sincere about Andrew and Joe not fighting anymore, and then she's like all of a sudden better. And you find out she was just faking the heart attack. And she tells the pilot to land at the airport, and he says, "We're not cleared to do that." And she threatens to call his mother.
Mm, mm,
Uh, just really funny. Again, she was definitely a standout in this film.
for sure.
I think that's all I want to touch on with the character side of this. What did I miss from your side of it? Any standout character interactions or scenes that you can think of?
I mean, I think you captured a very good portion of it. I mean, the relationship between Andrew and his dad, it's a little tough. And he has that canoe that he takes his frustrations out on. I don't know. Like I don't think there's a lot of scenes in this that I'm like kind of blown away by. I mean, Betty White, as you said, she carried this movie for me. Um, Everyone else, they're kind of there as your typical plot point to move the story forward a little bit and have someone there to question, like, oh, why are they getting married, or is it too soon, or you've talked about how much you hate her, like
Right.
that's generally kind of what I observed, at least this go around.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Uh, as far as the script of the film, I thought a lot of it you could kind of tell was going to happen ahead of time. But
Hmm.
again, I mean, romantic comedies, you kind of everything's going to work out in the end, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not going to ping any points, from it for that. I will say I thought they did a good job at like the light parts of the film being very light and funny, and the heavy moments being pretty heavy. um, like, they had a good mix of that. For example, you brought up about, Andrew and his dad fighting over, Andrew or Joe wants Andrew to take over the business and all that stuff. And, Andrew wants to be his own man. And how, when the ladies come back from their little adventure, they see Andrew out there chopping a canoe with an axe, kind of taking his frustration out.
Hmm.
Like that did a really good job, kind of betraying, some heavy stuff there. Um, Margaret in bed, I think it was the second night, telling Andrew kind of all this stuff, like confessing about how her parents died, and I forget what else, but there was a lot of like heavy stuff there as well, and kind of showed that first bit of connection between the two, I guess.
Yeah.
That was very heavy. um, Margaret at the wedding, deciding that she wanted to out herself in front of everyone. That was really heavy. And then, of course, when Ryan ends up back in New York, well, Andrew, I should say, I'm flip flopping the names here. When Andrew goes to New York City to confront her, and he tells her to be quiet, and she's kind of like, "What do you mean? Like, not used to that?"
Hmm.
Like, I thought that was really, like, powerful as well of him,
Right.
like, taking control to say, like, you need to listen to me for once," kinda thing.
Yeah. Like she's
So
not used to family. She's not used to the attention he's giving her. So there's a lot of things for people to overcome in this.
right. So did you watch this with Tweedle,
This
or did you
time
watch it on your
around,
own?
no, I watched it on my own.
Okay, do you remember watching it with Tweedle?
Yeah.
Okay. Is she the type that gets, like, teary-eyed during films?
Um, Depends. Yeah. I don't think she necessarily did so with this one.
Okay. Okay. So I watched this with I'll say a special lady in my life,
Hmm.
right? And there was a lot of not like a lot of crying, but like welling up at parts.
Okay.
Which I kind of appreciated then some more of how heavy some of those scenes were, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I myself did not feel those emotions as powerfully. But it kind of gave me a little bit of like, I guess, an appreciation, for I guess the romantic comedy genre in general. Um, so yeah, so you may at the end find that I rate this a little higher than I normally would, and I think it's maybe just a change of attitude recently around that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. I'd be curious
we'll
because
see.
I definitely want to kind of elaborate on my experience this time around in comparison to previous
Okay.
ones.
Okay. Cool. Um, yeah, you covered about his dad and that whole thing. I think the mom and the dad were a good complement to each other. Grace and Joe. Uh, Grace is the romantic, understanding, compassionate mother. Joe's kind of the cold, father.
Right.
So I thought that was a nice pairing. Um, yeah, I mean, beyond that, like typically I like to talk about like what the soundtrack did for the film, but I actually can't even think of really any of the music in this film.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one thing I was gonna note. The music, like, I don't remember like any of the tracks, anything. Like, I don't want to say that necessarily means it's good. It's just it's probably there. I just didn't pay attention to it.
right, it's hard to say. Like, did the film take such a forefront that I didn't notice it, or was it just not that empowering that
Yeah.
um I don't I didn't take note of it. Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of my review of it all, man. I don't know about you. Do you have anything to add?
Um. Yeah, I have a few things I can kind of get into. So the this movie definitely has a lot kind of coming back to the family and obviously the relationship, whether or not, they should actually be in one. We get a pretty fun outtake during the, credits where they're
Yeah.
trying to answer the questions and things like that and have the other interviews going. I thought that was kind of a nice little bow on the movie. The other things in the movie, you have the dog that obviously does not like Margaret, and you have the scene where she's like trying to make a phone call, and the dog ends up getting snagged up by the bird, and then she gets the dog, but the phone's gone now. It's got some comedy things in there like that. It's got some of the retro things, like having a dial up connection to the internet to use dimes and get to the internet. That's just kind of insane to me. Like, I remember dial up, but I don't remember like places where you had to put dimes in like that.
Yeah, well, although I was never really in a spot. I don't think anywhere around me, or at least I had any interest in an internet cafe. So I don't know if that's how it worked or not. To be honest.
I don't know. I almost compare it to like in college, there were computer labs that you can go to, right?
Yeah, but
There,
I don't. Did we have to pay for those?
no, 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 no. But in general, that's kind of what like, an
Oh
internet
yeah,
cafe to
yeah.
like just
Right, right.
go
Yeah, I
and
just meant from like a compensation. Like I always figured it was like you had a timer on the
mm-hmm,
device, and so you paid them at the front desk for like an hour of internet time or something like
yeah.
that. But I mean, maybe there was a time controlled thing. I don't know.
I
I can
mean, I'm
Google that
sure
while
it
you
existed
continue on.
somewhere. I mean, but it's just was a funny observation for me to see that in this movie. Um, the other thing is kind of like something I questioned towards the end is like, there's the whole thing where she's obviously going to be deported if she doesn't get married or whatever. Uh, and, when they're going to, essentially elope and do that thing, they get pulled over and the guy starts, grilling them ultimately to see if they are legit or not. And they mentioned that Bob had reported. Like, I understand Bob was meant to replace Margaret, at least until she can get everything squared away. But if her employers are revealing to Bob that she's being deported, that's kind of an HR problem, no?
Yeah, I mean, although I imagine federal outweighs HR as a problem.
I guess, but like
Um,
they could have just said that, Margaret has to step down, you're gonna fill in for her. Like they didn't have to say the departed thing or yeah, deported thing.
right.
So I don't know. Just something that I was like, my manager's red flags are going off with that a little bit. Um, but yeah, in general, I had fun with this movie, especially this time around. Not as much fun as previous viewings. Now, I remember, like, I think I've only saw this once when it was first released. I enjoyed it then. I watched it again with my wife, I enjoyed it then. This time around watching it, it it lost some of the magic for me, which I think is reflected in my score a little bit.
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah. Like there's not a lot of things in here that stand out, like quote wise or visuals or anything. Like as I said, Betty White carries this movie for me. Um, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds do good, but I don't know. A lot of the things are predictable, and I don't know. A lot of rom coms end up having that type of formula, and honestly, like this, if I had to put together a list of like top rom coms, this would definitely be in it. Would it be at the top of my list? I question that. So yeah, that's generally kind of how I feel about this movie. It's good. It's fun. It's just it's not one I intend to watch every year or anything like that. And if I do, it's probably gonna be better if I do watch it with my wife.
Yeah. Right.
So
All
yeah,
right.
obviously
Well, shall
I know
we?
this movie has done very well with the public. Like starting with a budget of 40 million, it grossed over 300 million. So it is a popular rom com. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I mean, just based on this watch, I could see why it would be
Mm-hmm.
well received.
Good. All right. Do you have any more you want to add?
I don't. I
All
don't.
right. Then let's score this. You go
Okay.
first.
All right. So I gave this a 4 out of 5. Um, I thought it was an enjoyable film. I thought the pacing was well done. I didn't really get bored with it at all. Again, Betty White. I think if Betty White was recasted in this, or the Gammy was recasted in this as somebody else, I may have scored a little lower. I think there's just some like endearment that comes with Betty White.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think she definitely adjusted the score some for me. But yeah, I ended up with a 4 out of 5.
Okay, nice.
What about you?
So as I said, this did drop in score for me. Originally I had it at 3.5 out of 5, which lines up with what we typically are. But this go around, I dropped it down to a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
It wasn't as appealing to me this time, and there's definitely some things that came up with me that I'm like, I don't see this as what I had ranked it once.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, we talked before about how rewatches either, make a film go up or down
Mm-hmm.
depending, right?
Sure.
So yeah, no, I think that's fair.
All right. Cool. All right. So let's talk next recommendations, Joe. We're gonna do Road to Perdition.
Okay. All right. I know nothing about this, so
I mean,
I mean I know the name, but I'm excited. I'm excited.
yeah, it's got Tom Hanks, and I think it's one of those movies that's very good for you know father and son relationships. So
Okay.
should be entertaining to say the least. And our next extra is going to be us talking about top rom coms from some special people to us. So stay tuned for that.
Indeed.
So that's going to wrap up this episode. Be sure to check us out on Threads and Facebook at To The Movies Pod. And also, we are now on YouTube over at The Movies Pod on YouTube. Be sure to check us out there. Leave a comment, like it, share it with your friends, whatever you want to do. But thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for dragging me to this romantic getaway in Sitka, Alaska.
Yeah, no problem. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.